Okay, I think the camera's rolling. Is the light on? Okay, here we go. Let's do this.
Shredders is a brand new game that just arrived on Game Pass, but its performance and stuttering is holding it back from being a truly great action sports game. This is Eli with Rage Review. Let's get to it. The first thing that I want to talk about are the controls. They're so-so. They do take some time to get used to, and I've been playing sports games since they really existed, so I'm pretty well versed in the genre, and I know what I like and what I don't like in a control scheme, especially when it comes to snowboarding, which offers game devs a lot of control options. The movement control in Shredders isn't bad, I would say, but it could be much better. I actually really like the pre-loading aspect of Shredders. Having to twist your body to the left or to the right to load up a spin for big air tricks is great. Most of the controls are good, but where Shredders absolutely fails is in the flat ground tricks. You can do quick bat flips on flat ground, but the feeling just isn't there. Rolling around on the balance point of the board also does not exist. You can't do tail or nose rolls, nose slides, or tail slides on command like you can do in other snowboarding games. Flat ground tricks are essential to games like this, and in this aspect, Shredders does not deliver even in the slightest. When it comes to action sports games like Shredders, the controls can often make or break a game, and I would say that in Shredders, it's slightly above average. Good, not great. Where Shredders stands out is in its lack of hand-holding in the jumps and tricks. You really have to time your stuff out or you'll land on your head over and over again. In other words, they give you lots of freedom, but only in certain movements. Not rails at all. Rails are very robotic feeling to the point where it's just kind of gross. That brings me to map design. The runs and the areas in Shredders are very good. I love the flowing deep powder of some areas and the city runs in other areas, although the buildings look like they're from PUBG, which we don't really play these games to look at pretty buildings, we play them to shred. So, the course design is all around very good and diverse. If you like the park, they have that. If you like deep powder and huge natural jumps, they have that too. Also, the mobility in Shredders is very good. You have controllable snowmobiles to pull you up mountains and motorized pulleys to speed you up in areas where it's needed. It's a very unique part of Shredders, and I haven't seen much of that in other action sports games, so good on them. So the controls aren't bad, the map is good, and the mobility is great. So let's get to some negatives. First off, the music is pretty shit. There's no other way to say it. It's also not really a big deal because in today's day and age of gaming, I can usually just mute the music if it sucks and listen to my own, unless the game offers really great music. So it's not really a huge deal, but it's definitely a negative. Dialogue is also weak, and the story is something you'll probably just skip through. It's not a deal breaker, but it's there if you want to listen to it. So here's my biggest gripe with Shredders. The game at times runs like dog shit. There's no other way to say it. I experienced almost constant stuttering and quick freezes in certain areas and horrible screen tearing. Screen tearing so bad, it's completely immersion breaking and game ruining. I don't know if it's the online element to Shredders or what. I have an amazing internet connection and wired connections, so it shouldn't be an issue. When Shredders wasn't stuttering, I actually really enjoyed the game. You can really get shredding and the controls are serviceable. The map is quite nice and well designed, even if they use cheap assets. I wish they would have worked more on the flat ground control and rotating around the balance point of the board, but it's not the end of the world. You can still have fun with this game, and maybe after a couple updates, they'll figure out the game's poor performance, because a game like this with average graphics should not be a stuttering mess on the Series X. That being said, I still think it's worth a download, especially if you're into action sports and especially if you have Game Pass. If you're forking out the $30 to play this game, I'd wait for an update or two and see how it's received. If Shredders can tighten up its controls and iron out its buggy, stuttery nature, I really do believe it can be a ridiculously good snowboarding game. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful in any way. This has been Eli with Rage Review. We'll see you next time.